Call to order this Bath County Board of Education working session, August 25th, 2025, 6 p.m. Discussion of tonight's agenda. I would like to make a motion to amend in the regular meeting a construction update on our plumbing system. I have a motion by Barbara, second by Carla. Any discussion? I am amending, Jonathan had asked to add the piping scoping services where they can go down in the pipes at the middle school and look to see if they have anything collapsed or anything like that. That'll be added later in the agenda. All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, discussion of consent items. Everybody good? Item 4, construction update on the Bath County High School and the Bath County Middle School renovation, Pack Walker and Ross Tarrant.
Just a few comments about the high school. It's wrapping up. We had some owner training today on HVAC equipment, and I think we're getting down to just a few items, and we should be finished with the owner training. Thermal equipment, they were doing some training as well. They were on site today. And thermal equipment, they did restart the rooftop unit number 2. We've had some issues with that, and they made some adjustments, and we're trying to see if that works. We're keeping an eye on that, see how that's going to work. We're waiting on delivery date for a compressor for the DOAS unit number 3. So I checked today. We still don't have a delivery date for that compressor. Elliott Glass was on site today. There was one door glass that needed to be replaced. Waiting on we got some punch list items in the gym, and so that's all we have there, and just doing some closeout documents, a lot of paperwork, warranties, trying to get all that completed, all the handbooks, all the material to the your maintenance team.
Did you guys get everything finished with the roof over the cafeteria and everything that needed to be taken care of there?
Yes, that is complete. Yes. To my knowledge, I haven't heard any issues. We haven't really had any rain, so hopefully all that has been fixed. Now, I don't know if your staff here would question that, but I've been told we're complete with that work.
Ms. Brandenburg is here if she knows of anything that needs to be completed that's not been done at the high school.
Oh, in the Chenault building. I don't. Yeah, that's the first I heard of that. Is it due to rain, or do you think it's due to the unit? Okay. Okay. We'll certainly check that out and see what the issue might be.
Okay. Is there anything else, Ms. Brandenburg? Is that the mural when you walk through the gym doors? Why is it maroon instead of red?
Yeah, there's some Yeah, I think there's some issue, I don't know if it's colors. Jonathan, he can comment more so on that. That's a new thing that is installed, right? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so for the roof items at the Schnott Building, definitely we'll do what we can to figure those out. I just want to clarify that the roof is existing. So if we find out that it's an existing roof unit that's causing leaks, that's something that we can try to figure out how to address. But the only way we can hold the contractor responsible for fixing something on the roof is if it's a new penetration or if we touch that portion of the roof. But technically the entire roof is existing. We only made I think one new penetration. In fact, if that is the penetration that is causing the leaks, then definitely we can have someone fix that. If it's a new existing condition that is something that's outside of our scope, we can make a recommendation for how to address it, but there's nothing that we can hold the contractor responsible for fixing if it's just
Okay.
a failure on the roof itself.
Sure.
So is there water coming in through a air conditioning unit?
Okay.
Okay. And is it something that has Tim seen it? Is there something that if they,
Okay. Is it near the fire alarm? It's on that same wall. I remember no time about it. Okay. 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 Then yeah, that does ring a bell as something that was brought up in the past, I think during the wintertime when it was just freezing, I think on the gutter side of things. But we'll revisit it. And
is that old or is that new?
the side of the building, we didn't. Okay, if it's at the exhaust, that's new. If it's an exhaust penetration in that wall, then that's new.
Okay.
If a new scope item that wasn't previously.
So
already
that
on the
wouldn't have
building.
been something you all would have already done?
If it's the same location that I've talked about with Phil in the past, then it is something that's in the scope.
Oh,
That we
okay,
would have
okay.
someone fix
So
and reseal.
it'll be under warranty?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
We just need to get her done.
Yes, for the other comment about the high school gym lobby entry, Ms. Brandenburg is correct. What was produced looks not to be the exact real red that you have as your main color, like on your tablecloths, or not even quite the red that are the curtains. There are variations of red in the graphic, but we have an inkling that what was printed is not the exact same color that was provided to the manufacturer or the supplier. So we're verifying how that difference between what the digital file had for colors, what that actually printed out to be. But she's correct that there are variations of red on there, and none of them are quite the exact real red. That
So
was-
will they redo another one? Is it like a big sticker that they produced across there?
It's a vinyl graphic that's put on these, I don't know, like these panels that get mounted on the wall. They're like 4 feet wide, 8 feet tall, but it's like a film that's put on top of them. And so if in fact there's a way to get those fixed, they would have to take the whole thing off, reprint them with brand new panels and insert those back in place.
Okay.
So she's correct that that is not the exact color that we were hoping to have, but we don't have any guarantees about what the options are from the supplier because we haven't figured out is it an issue of the file that was given to them, or if it's the exact file we gave them, it's just printed incorrectly. We don't know where the loss in communication is between what was provided and what was printed. But definitely we can go look at that to see if it's a big concern. I know there was an install concern with some of the seams. Maybe the seams between each panel could be a lot neater. But in terms of color, that's something that we're going to have to work out with the supplier to figure out how we can get those replaced. Because it's not like they can just, peel off the vinyl graphic. They've got to replace the entire thing.
Okay.
If it's maroon, I don't think they'll want it.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
It's definitely not Bath County colors.
Not red.
No.
I don't think they'll want it. Well, I know they won't want it if it's maroon.
okay.
So
So,
we'll definitely have to do something with that.
okay. But if there are other pieces on the Schnott building, if somehow they've not made their way to me or to David, then we'll gladly take them. But if it's stuff that Phil and Tim know about, then I'm sure we've already been aware of some of those things. But definitely, we have the one-year walkthrough for the Chenault project coming up in December. And I think we're on track to walk through the building in October. At least enough of us involved with the project closeout will be walking through in October, so that way we can identify other warranty items. But if you already know of other ones, we can definitely start that ball on getting those identified and fixed before the December deadline comes out for the one-year walkthrough of that project.
Okay, great.
Okay. So jumping into the, I think there was one more for the high school, but maybe it's coming, it's gone my mind. Middle school. We have on the agenda two items for consideration. We have the additional abatement conversation, which is Air Source Technology requesting $1,480 to do additional abatement. This is coming from our special called board meeting last week, where Michelle, you mentioned, like, is this abated? And I was like, well, the survey report says full abatement. After calling to confirm, turns out they did not go into the attic space. So we definitely have, enough time in the schedule to accommodate that if it is determined to be an issue. But unfortunately, when we called, they confirmed that no, they only looked at stuff below the ceiling and not actually the gym ceiling or the vaulted asphalt shingle roof section of the attic of the old part of the middle school. Furthermore, I asked them, did they even do roof cores on the roof? Because we're trying to do roof replacement. And we know that the existing built-up roof is kind of encapsulated underneath the existing roof that you do see on the middle school. Sure enough, they did not. So this here is for additional services so that you can get peace of mind that your building is fully identified for the spots that he did not do his first time around. And those spots being those two attic spaces, gym, and the asphalt shingle location, and then actually doing select roof cores where they would go all the way down to the existing deck and tell us all the different layers of roofing that have happened over the years, and if any of that is an asbestos issue. Because if it is, we can tell you whether we want to cover it, which is encapsulating it, or if we want to fully go down to the existing deck, which will cost more money. But that's if it's a hot asbestos item from his survey. Any questions on the additional abatement surveying? And again, this is just him going in, testing them, letting us know if they're an issue. And if they are, he's got recommendations that will go in the documents so that there's a proper way to get rid of that material. But if it's not an issue, all you're paying for is the testing to confirm that there's no asbestos in those ceiling and roof areas. Okay. The second one is about, as Ms. Fraser mentioned, investigating your existing sanitary and storm lines throughout the building and on the outside. Right now, going off of Tim and Phil's understanding of the existing plumbing of the building, we've kind of limited how much we're replacing because we wanted a surveyor to come in and actually confirm how bad a lot of your storm lines are outside the building and how bad your sanitary lines are throughout the site and inside the building. If they confirm that they agree with Tim's understanding of how some of the lines are great, then we won't have to touch them. It reduces your scope down. You have peace of mind that you're not going to worry about a change order for discovered sanitary lines that need to get replaced once we crack open the slab and crack open some walls. But the service for that, they would take a camera and scope through all of it, is $13,801.50. Even though that's a additional cost item to factor in here, one, you have peace of mind, and number two, in terms of all the services we budgeted at the first step of this project, we overestimated what the additional services would be for your geotechnical and for your site survey. Because both of those are going to be a lot lower than what we budgeted, this additional cost does not mean that you have to increase your budget. We already factored in a bunch of your services as part of the original BG1 line item. And so this cost here, while an add, is not a net add to your project. It's still covered with what we budgeted at the very start. It's just important that if you have any questions or if we can't approve this, we can find a way to get confirmation about how the existing lines are and whether you want to replace them without someone actually scoping with the camera to verify.
Do we not know where those existing lines are? Do we not have that information?
This is to see if they're collapsed or anything like that.
So all we have is Tim or Phil's knowledge of what they see on site or what they've heard about current conditions, but no one has like concrete evidence of a camera confirming some lines have collapsed or not.
So if we don't know this and we take bids, will they fluff the bids to cover what they don't know?
They would not, because our documents would make a assumption about we should anticipate 200 linear feet of storm lines and 200 linear feet of sanitary lines. And so they'll go off of what the drawings show.
Okay.
Your trade-off is if we don't know until they crack into the slab that it actually needs to be 300 linear feet because they've chased it down and you need to add an extra length, then there's a change order there because you clearly want to make sure that as much of the line is good, but we had to go off of some unknowns versus the scoping survey would confirm whether we need to go the full 200 linear feet or less or more. So you can have a more accurate scope bid with this service. If you don't, it's the gamble that we need to go further.
How much is the service?
The service would be $13,801.50 for them to record it all, document it, and ultimately confirm how far we need to go for the underslab and underground work.
Could this possibly be an issue with water pressure? I'm sure with drainage.
So this would not be an issue with water pressure. This is just to make sure that water is going away from your building or sanitary flow of sewage is going away from your building. Pressure would be a lot more with your... Yes, yes, yes.
Would you say?
Sanitary sewer and storm drainage.
Okay.
So
I believe it'd be very helpful as
we would be out $13,000 if we did the survey. But
Correct.
we're not out anything because if they get in there and they find out we need more, we're gonna have to have more anyway. So we
Correct.
would have still paid more in the beginning than, either way,
Correct.
I
But-
don't understand why we would want to pay that 13,000. Why not take the gamble and save the 13,000? Because if we end up having to have more, we would have had to pay more anyway. It's not saving us money to know or not know, it's just peace of mind of knowing, correct?
This would save you money in that you would not get a change order saying we need to do extra sanitary or storm work. It also would give you a more accurate document for bidders to put a price to if we are confident that we need to do X amount of linear feet of work instead of assuming that we need to do the entire thing. In reality, we only need to do half. So you would have a more accurate bid, little to no change order at all if you were to pay this service to confirm
Okay, so
what the
there's an
drawings show.
option that if we did pay it, we may not have to do as much as what we think we have to do as well.
Exactly.
So it goes both ways.
Exactly. So you would pay them to do this, and they would tell us how far we need to show in our documents, and it might say, everything looks great except for your storm line. Okay, well, we save on sanitary, but we have to increase on storm.
Okay.
Or they might say, you need to do the entire site because all of it's collapsed. That's
Okay.
better because then...
Well, that makes a better scenario of why we would need to do it. It's not a want, it now becomes a need.
Correct.
Because these are very old pipes.
Right, and all we're going off of is Tim and Phil's knowledge of the building, which we don't want to put them on the spot if ultimately that's underestimating or overestimated. This will put it on someone else who's responsible for documenting it, and then our documents are super clear about how far we need to go on the entire site.
Okay.
But nothing, Ms. Razor, to do with water pressure.
Okay.
And then the last one is for high school. It's just special inspections. It's for anyone coming on site to evaluate the soil conditions related to the asphalt work, or for the high school, it would be for, I guess, last minute testing for steel or foundation work.
Now, this is item 5 on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, so let me read it. Discussion of the final special inspection services on Bath County High School HVAC renovation BG 22-376 and asbestos core sample evaluation of the Bath County Middle School roof, which we've already discussed that, correct?
Yes, correct. So yeah, the special inspections is just there final invoice for the last bit of, I think, 30 minutes, half an hour they did in July to basically rectify anything related to the asphalt or any other testing. The project's done. There's no other invoice coming. The great thing for that is that we budgeted I don't know, I think it was $25,000 fee for them, and they're only billing up to like, I think $7,000 or $8,000. So ultimately, you won't have to, worry about paying out the rest because they've already done their work. And so at the end of it all, we'll be able to not deduct anything because you've not paid them that remaining balance, but you don't have to worry about paying that remaining balance that was already agreed on.
Thank you.
But Ms. Brandenburg, I'll send you an email and we'll figure out how to fix the Chanel building and the graphics.
Again, on that one item about the inspection of the lines, existing lines,
Yeah.
in phase construction, it's helpful to know because you like to minimize surprises. You may have a certain phase scheduled for 4 weeks, and and you're trying to move to another area of the building. And if you do encounter, say, a clogged line or a line that's collapsed, then that might set back, progress for a couple weeks, which could impact opening a school or something like that. So on phase construction, it's, the more information we have before start, it's
Absolutely.
good. So just a comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 6, discussion of the second reading on the Traceable Communication Policy 08-2323.
It's just as, the policy's just as we read it last month, nothing's been added or changed.
Okay, thank you.
So we are going to be able to have a form signed by the parents to release for the coach?
Yes, that's part of policy.
Okay, so
we've
we
got
can
that.
do that then?
Yes, and once you all approve, or if you approve tonight, then we can issue the form and that waiver
Okay.
will be available.
That'll be great.
Item 7, discussion of the 25-26 tax rate on real and personal property of 63.4 cents and the 25-26 tax rate on motor vehicles of 46.4 cents.
What is the current rate right now set at for both? Oh, I'm sorry. Brittany, do you know what the current rate is?
Yes, it's 60.7 cents.
I was talking more for the motor. Do you know what the motor vehicle one is?
The vehicle is 46.4, so
Okay,
it
so it's
will
gonna stay
be
the
no
same.
change.
Okay. All right. So,
Just, if you want me to give a little, just overview of this sheet here that you all received in your packet.
Please do.
So as she said, this year we're at 60.7 cents. As you can see, that generated revenue of $3,757,000. For each rate that you could possibly take, well, a few options. You can take really whatever rate you want, but a few options. The compensating would be 61 cents. The 4% increase would be 63.4 cents, and so on and so forth. In the column next to that, you can see how much revenue that would generate. So in the very last column, it shows how much revenue above what we had last year. So for instance, if you took the compensating tax rate of 61 cents, that would make $118,000 revenue more than last year. In the middle section of the page, you can see a average property owner assessment value and how much that would mean an increase for that person. So for instance, for someone who owned a property of $50,000, if you took the 4% increase, that would be $13.50 more per year that that person would be paying. So for all the options, you can see how much more the taxpayer would be paying. And just a little background to it, the 4% or anything below is available to you to take with no recall, no advertisements, no tax hearing. Anything above the 4%, you have to have 2 advertisements, a tax hearing, all the things with the tax, that taxpayers would be able to recall a certain amount of. So what you all are looking at this year with no interest in the nickel would be 4% or less. So therefore, we don't have to legally have the ads in the tax hearing. Just a few notes on why it would be, in my opinion, best for you to take the 4% above the compensating. If you look at the difference in the revenue that it would generate 151,000-ish more dollars for our general fund. Also, we are losing for every $1 million that our property assessment values go up, which this year, I looked, it's $25 million that Bath County property assessments went up. So for every $1 million, we lose $3,000 in SEEK. So automatically, because the state thinks, well, they're getting more in tax revenue, we're going to cut $75,000 in SEEK. Also, a few other notes. So if we didn't take the capital funds request each year, we would be overspending. So we were around $100,000 in a deficit for this year. If we hadn't have taken the capital funds request, we would be overspending by about $400,000 just in 1 year. So, you know, our fund balance is sitting at like 6.7, 6.8. It was 6.8, it's now at 6.7. I mean, if you do the math on that and you're losing $400,000 each year, it's not gonna take long before you're in trouble, because you have to have a certain amount for payroll. You have to staff the buildings, you know, the way the state says you have to staff them. They also have pushed out more and more on programs that we have to buy, software programs, which were huge expenditures for us, our reading and math program. Obviously, we're in a very tough situation facility-wise. We just had a meeting with Lincoln, our financial advisor, recently, and the amount of bonding that we have is not near what we need to keep all of our facilities. We had a loss of $100,000 in CTE funding this year. We are looking at having a loss of at least over $200,000 in Title II and Title IV next year. They did take it away, and then they ended up giving it back this year, but they have said not to expect that moving forward. So just with all the unknowns with the federal funding alone, plus your SEEK funding you're going to lose, you're really, even if you take the 4%, you're not going to make up everything that we're losing. So, you know, if you take the compensating, you're basically digging yourself in a larger hole over time. But that's just my advice to you all. It's up to you, so.
It makes no sense that the state, if our property value goes up, they give the school less money. When
Right.
we live in a county where we don't have a lot of businesses, it's the people who live here that have to pay it.
Right.
And, you know, we sit here and, I mean, there's like, what, 20 people here tonight? So we look at 5 board people sitting up here, one in each district of Bath County, and we ask us if we want to raise taxes, basically, is the question. And none of us want to raise taxes. But when I look at this, and I used to always think as a citizen, and I didn't know the board meetings were going on and didn't understand, I always thought, well, they're just raising these taxes and everybody's making more money and it's just, we're throwing it away. But the bottom line is what public doesn't realize is that we spent $320,000 that we had to spend this year alone on the 2 elementary schools for their Moby Max and Lexia program. And then, so that's $320,000 just for that we had to. You don't have a choice on that. You had to do it. And then we lost $100,000 in CTE funding for the high school. And then we're losing the federal money. They took $300,000 away, and they weren't going to give it to us at all this year. And have we even got it back yet?
Yes,
Okay, so it did come back.
Yes.
But they specifically told us that we will not have that money next year for sure, to not count on it. And then we get another hit over property taxes. So without even the property taxes, I added it up, it was $720,000 that we were starting out in the hole. And then you add the property tax to it, that's 75 more thousand. So
yeah,
now you're
and, that's kind of on top of what we are already as a district overspending. And, there are ways you either are going to have to cut expenditures or increase revenues. And really taxes is one of the only ways that you all as a board can increase revenues. So you really,
But when we
a
do
little bit of
this-
both have to happen in order to stay on a good progression and not kind of dig yourself in more of a hole.
Right. And that's my whole point, is that none of this is good news. It's not. And I don't want to cut educational programs, definitely don't want to cut teachers, because then that falls in our academics of our students learning. If you take away their teachers' aides, and there's 28 kids, there's supposed to be 25 kids in a class, and you've got a teacher's aide in there to help that teacher, you're going to be affecting their learning. Do you cut sports? No, nobody ever wants to cut sports. I mean, you don't never want to take something away from the kids.
Do you not give raises?
I mean, that would have to be one of the cuts that we would have to consider as well, is no raises this year. I mean, $720,000 that we are starting out in the hole with just this year. Well, let me rephrase that. It was 720, but we got 300 of it back. So now we're really only 420,000 in the hole starting out. But this time next year, we're all going to sit in the same spot. That 300 that we got back, we won't get next year. So you can already mark that one off. So I'm just saying, you get hit as time goes on, and there's more expenses. We're not going to get this funding. All of our teachers are writing grants like crazy, trying to, make money come in for their programs, and so they can have what they need to be able to teach that classroom. And they're really, really good about doing it. The teachers are great. And we've gotten a lot of grants by our teachers doing everything that they can.
Mm-hmm.
I just want the public to understand that, they don't see what we see up here. And I just want them to understand what's going on. Where would anybody suggest that we make cuts? It's just a tough decision. It's really, I just wanted to make it very clear that, I know we come up here every year and we ask for more money, more taxes. And I just, it's not that anybody wants to pay more taxes ever. I just don't know where the money's going to come from if we don't do it.
Right.
Good.
And this is, this rate or below is something available to you all to get with no, of course, you're going to get repercussions from the public, of course, anytime. Even if you were keeping it the same, I would say they would say they're raising taxes up there. But, yeah, it's just, I think, crazy not to go after something that's available to you every year, especially when we're at the place that we're at facility-wise and you know, the unknowns of federal and state funding wise. Our property assessments keep going up, so we keep getting less than seek. I just think it would be crazy not to, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Thank you, Brittany.
Can you hear me? You all know that I'm new on the board, and I was against the nickel tax. And in the last 3 years, you all tried to take the nickel tax, which resulted in a 4% tax increase every year. So that was 3 years in a row that you got money, which is more than what you would have had if you had just took compensating or whatever. The parents of the students already voted against the nickel tax. You know, we claim we're doing all this for the students, and yes, we are. But the parents also voted against 3 times, not once or twice, but 3 times against raising the tax rate. I do know that we have declining enrollment. So really, we probably don't have to allow for new teaching positions if that's the case. I know also that we were talking about the money we lost in the CTE. That's no fault of the taxpayers in the county. And a lot of these reasonings that you are giving, yes, they are in the long run, but as of right now, no. And I cannot see us having to pay taxes, the taxpayers having to pay another 4% this year. I just don't think that we should do it this year. Yes, maybe next year, if things get as bad as what you say they will. Also, I know Mr. Melton, he will be taking care of seeing that the expenditures are what they need to be, and going through and cleaning things up, and that's good. It needs to be done. But I think we need to kind of prove to the public itself, you know, that we are working on that and we are trying our best to do that and to use our money wisely. And I think that's about it.
Any other discussion? Working session's adjourned.
said that. Yes.
Call to order this Bath County Board of Education regular meeting, August 25th, 2025, 7 p.m. Discussion and possible action on tonight's agenda. Again, I need to make a motion to add consideration and approval of plumbing, piping, scoping services from Pipe Eyes LLC for the Bath County Middle School renovation BG 25-084.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's take a few moments for silent devotion. Thank you. Item 4, cybersecurity presentation. Dr. Griffith.
Thank you all. I want to thank the board and Dr. Melton for their time. As you all know, KDE requires chief information officers, directors of technology of the district to give a cybersecurity report by August 31st. And we're doing that here tonight. Most of this is a carryover for some of the things we did, but we did implement a few different changes this year. Obviously, we kept the acceptable use policy. We kept the Chromebook student policy the same that the board implemented, the multi-factor verification and those sort of things. But I do want to point out a few things that are different this year. The state went to a different filter system for our browsers. So in years past, we have used a program called Lightspeed, and Lightspeed basically just flagged inappropriate comments. You know, if a student said something inappropriate or they indicated self-harm or harm to someone else, we got an immediate notification of that. The Kentucky Department of Education went away with Lightspeed. They had a bid process, and GoGuardian is the new one that rules the roost now. So we are using GoGuardian. We've already deployed that. So it's supposed to be more effective. It's supposed to be. So we're having some continuing issues with it, but we are on top of that to make sure that that suits our needs. On January 1st of this year, we did implement a new policy that no new monies could be spent on anything that wasn't a Google compliant device. That was a cybersecurity risk to us for a couple different reasons. One, if you're using an Amazon Fire Stick or a Kindle reader or an iPhone or an iPad or something, we can't deploy GoGuardian or Windstream to it. We can't, you know, when you log in and you have your username, we can't do that on those type of devices. And as a result, not only can people bypass that security, but when you do that, you're opening that door to hackers too, because we have no way to stop those people from getting in that way. So we said basically the devices that we do have that are Apple and Kindle and that sort of thing that are in the district will be phased out as they reach end of life. But we really have to have Bath County Schools credentials that people access the internet. There's also one more thing that we didn't get to implement before this meeting, but I'll be meeting with our DPP. She's on leave right now, and she has the tool to do this. It's a security tool to help remove personally identifiable information from accounts. For those of you that don't know, we have Infinite Campus for our students, and there is personally identifiable information in there, and the commissioner and then our chief information officer for the technology programs in the state basically said we need to find a way to remove that, particularly for kids that have graduated, because we've been using that program 20 years. and there's very important information in there. So we have a tool that will be removing that probably in the next 3 to 5 weeks. So that's another, because for hackers and that sort of thing, that information is valuable. And so we want to make sure at the state level, every district's doing it, but the state said we need to make sure that information's removed. So those are the 3 major differences. But there's a lot more in this. I know you're just burning to read everything that we do. It's boring to a lot of folks, but to us, we think it's pretty important. Do y'all have any questions? All right. I want to thank you all for your time. I appreciate you. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Item 5, Superintendent and Board Communication, Dr. Melton.
Just kind of give you an update for the last month. We've hired a principal at OES, Ashley Wells. She's here. Nice to see her here. And then, of course, we hired Assistant Principal Mike Adams at the high school, Assistant Principal Mark Collier at OES. This month we had our annual school safety meeting with our first responders to review and evaluate our safety plans. Of course, this is an ongoing process that we will be working on to enhance school safety and continue to review those documents. We finalized our district-wide opening day, which will be tomorrow, and of course, everybody's invited to be here in the morning if you would like to be. We had our annual bus driver update trainings. We had our new teacher orientation. We've completed our summer PD and planning schedule as we finished today on that part since we are doing our opening day tomorrow. And we're finalizing our plans, working on to do more instructional support for our aspiring teachers. And that's as far as I've got is communication at this moment. It's not anything you have to approve.
Okay. Item 6, discussion and possible action on approving the following items. A, August 19, 2025 minutes. B, July financial statement. C, claims. D, superintendent expenditures. E, superintendent July 2025 work calendar. F, grants. G, use of facility. H, review of all monthly financial reports of all funds. I, pay bills through August 31st, 2025. J, student fees, honesty bonds for the 25-26 school year. K, accept 2025-26 school year fresh fruit and vegetable grant award. L, MOA with Sterling Health. M, school resource officer contracts.
I'll make that motion to approve 6A through 6M.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, discussion and possible action of final special inspection services on Bath County High School HVAC renovation, BG 22. Let me back up. Item 7 is public comments. Do we have one?
Do we have any?
No public comments? Okay, we'll move on to 8 then. Discussion and possible action of final special inspection services on Bath County High School HVAC renovation, BG 22-376.
I'll make the motion of the final special inspection services on Bath County High School HVAC renovation, BG 22-376.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Kim. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, discussion and possible action on asbestos core sample evaluation of the Bath County Middle School roof.
I'll make that motion on the asbestos core sample evaluation of the Bath County Middle School roof.
I have a motion by Carla, a second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10 is consideration and approval of plumbing piping scoping service from Pipe Eyes LLC for the Bath County Middle School renovation, BG 25-084.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Eric, second by Carla. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, discussion and possible action on the second reading of policy 08-2323, traceable communications.
I'll make the motion on the second reading of the policy 08.2323, traceable communications.
I'll second. Any discussion? Do I have a motion by Carla, second by Barbara? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, discussion and possible action to adopt the 25-26 tax rate on real and personal property of 63.4 cents.
I'll make that motion to adapt the 25-26 tax rate on real and personal property of 63.4 cents.
I have a motion by Carla, second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, discussion and possible action to adopt the 25-26 motor vehicle tax rate of 46.4 cents.
I'll make the motion to adapt the 25-26 motor vehicle tax rate at 46.4 cents.
I have a motion by Carla, a second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, other business. I'd like to make a motion to move the September meeting to September the 29th. If that would work for everybody. That would make it a special called meeting. I will be out of town the week of the regular. So the 29th works better for you? Can you do the 30th? We don't want to do it before, it's too early. What is that date? Can you do the 15th, Eric? Ashley? Kim? Can you do the 15th? The week before?
I can.
Okay. 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 So I'd like to make a motion to move the September meeting to Monday, September the 15th, and it would be a special call meeting.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Barbara, a second by Carla. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Working session at 6 o'clock. Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Barbara, second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? We're adjourned.